All right, traders, the green streak continues. The trader of the day reward goes to G-Roar. He ended up calling out over a 1,000% potential gainer on the day. I'm going to be breaking down the trade and recapping it, sharing with you my overall analysis on it. I did end up buying 1,000 contracts on this trade, making over 5 figures. Let's get straight into the analysis. So in terms of this particular trade, it was on call options. G-Roar ended up buying 489 SPY calls for 30 cents, and he was adding that 28 cents. And in terms of my particular entry, I ended up waiting a little bit. As you could see right here, I ended up alerting the trade as well in real time about an hour later. At 1:48 p.m., I had stated that I'm in 489 calls heavy. So the reason why I decided to buy that trade a little bit later was I was waiting for a certain confirmation on the 30-minute chart, and in terms of the confirmation that I was looking at on the 30-minute chart. So that trade was taking place basically towards the end of this red 30-minute candlestick you are seeing right here. Now, in terms of why I ended up taking that trade, first of all, G-Roar has a 95% fucking win rate. So if he's going to be down on a position heavily, like, 30% or 40%, there's a good chance that those calls are going to come back to life. So that was one of the reasons, obviously, but I don't follow all of his trades. But in terms of another reason, it was a 30-minute chart. I noticed there was a green, red, green pattern. So you can see right here, this is a green bullish candlestick, then you have red in the middle, and then you have a green bullish candlestick. And then what does SPY tend to do? It tends to go up. And then you could see, in a sense, on TD Ameritrade, it actually shows this candlestick red if you use the mobile app, green, red, green, and then it tends to go up for another 30 minutes. And then you can see the same pattern right here, green, red, green, and then it goes up for another 30 minutes. So I had basically identified this pattern when the SPY was forming this green, red, green, it would basically start to break out and it would start to close strong. See how it has the green, red, green, and then what does it do overall? It breaks out and it closes strong. Green, red, green, and then what does it do overall? It starts to break out and close strong. So once I noticed that the SPY was forming that bullish green, red, green pattern multiple times for multiple 90-minute sessions, and once I noticed that this previous resistance right here was reacting as support, see the high of these candles right here is resistance, well, it was breaking out, it was forming the green, red, green pattern, and it was forming higher support, forming a bottom floor, strong bullish bottom wicks at previous resistance. That was confirmation for me to buy those fucking calls. If my boy's in a fucking battle, fucking G-Roar, and he's down on those fucking calls, and I'm seeing a great fucking confirmation to enter, I'm going to take those fucking calls. I was buying them at 23 cents. I was adding at fucking 17 cents. I think the lows, they went to like 16 fucking cents. Very similar situation to that trade that I made on Thursday, where the calls went to 15 cents to over $100 a contract, literally dollar plus a contract. So in terms of this particular trade, I could pull it up on the options chain, but G-Roar, he makes it so much easier because he literally alerts all of the option quotes and when he exits. So if I just go to the Discord, you can see right here, if we go to the section, it's going to visually show you, oh, there's his profits. He ended up making 78% profit return on his live trading TD Ameritrade account. But anyways, if you just go to the section right here, you can just visually see he alerts the option quotes and then he gives his analysis on the particular trade. And then he ends up saying where he exited. So he ended up exiting that particular trade that he was in at 30 cents and he was averaging his cost down at $1.27. Those contracts, like I said, went from 17 cents all the way to $1.27 plus. So with that being said, I want to give a big shout out to G-Roar because that was a phenomenal trade. And it doesn't stop there. The green streak continues. At 3:37 p.m., he ended up alerting 4920 SPX puts for 90 cents. Those puts, he was expecting a very nice drop to go into the money. As you can see right here, those puts ended up going to 260 a contract. He went 3 for 3 on the day with a flawless victory. So with that being said, I ended up making over 5 figures on the day. Last week, within one single hour, I made over 300 fucking K. This is what happens when you work with the fucking rich. You become fucking successful. So if you want to work with G-Roar and you want to copy his trades, it's going to be the first link down below within the description. And what you get access to is his real-time trade alerts. Because at the end of the day, within our industry, it is very hard to find someone with a 95% success rate on zero-date options that are far out of the money, extremely extremely cheap contracts, 15 cents a contract, 20 cents a contract, that are going up to 50 cents, that are going up to $1, that's consistently doing this with a 95% win rate. I started trading and working with him, and now I'm making the same exact type of trades. My entire company, Trader Society, has changed. We used to be a scalping company. Now we're buying far out of the money option contracts and we're selling deep in the money. So we got to give a big shout out to G-Roar. If you do want to join his team, it is called Team Roar. It's the first link down below in the description. It is a zero-date far out of the money options trading company that buys contracts extremely cheap, far out of the money, and sells them deep in the money. With that being said, these are the types of trades that have the highest risk to reward ratio. There's a lot of people who aren't capitalizing on this trend of zero-date options. A lot of people think that zero-date options trading is high fucking risk. I look at it as a situation where it's the highest risk to reward ratio. We're entering trades that only cost 15 cents, 20 cents a contract, 15 bucks, 20 bucks a contract. And they're going up multiple 100% profit returns on a consistent basis. And every single contract is like having 100 shares of fucking SPY. And right now, SPY is priced at $491. So the fucking leverage and the fucking opportunity is crazy. Like I said, I had 1,000 contracts. That's fucking nothing. If you think 1,000 contracts is a lot, when I was on fucking TV in 2019 shorting penny stocks, I was putting in $200,000 to short penny stocks, and I was making like 20% returns, 30% returns. But then on a loss, I can get squeezed and lose 50% of that fucking position. With this, I put in the most I'm willing to risk on a trade. Worst case scenario, the contracts go to zero and they're so fucking cheap. So if you have a small account, you don't have to risk a lot. They're so cheap, so it allows you to make big percentage gains without risking a lot. If you know how to buy far out of the money option contracts with the high win rate and sell deep in the money, you could be extremely fucking successful doing this. I used to take positions on shares shorting penny stocks, put in like $200,000 in the position, make 20%. With this, I put in 20 fucking K and I can make 3, 4, 500%. Worst case scenario, I'll typically lose like 50%. But like I said, our win rate is extremely high and we're only putting into these contracts our max risk per trade. So in terms of your max risk per trade, it depends on your risk tolerance. That could be 1, 2, 3%. Obviously, the more you have in your account, then the more you can consider in terms of risking, right? If you have a small account, you're not going to have as big as a cushion. So that means you're going to have to automatically risk more, even if you don't want to. But starting with a small account is a choice because at the end of the day, anyone can get more money and then choose to start later in that particular situation. But with that being said, I just wanted to quickly explain some of the basics to the program. If you are interested in copying and following real-time trades, then this is going to be the best program for you. And there is some education in terms of the program. You do get to talk with G-Roar in the chat, but I want to make it very clear, the main focus of this program is to follow the trades. So if that's what you're interested in doing, this is the offer that we have for you. With that being said, I'm going to be wrapping up this lesson. I have to get back to my private organization of Team Roar and Trader Society. We will absolutely crush it within the market tomorrow. I will see you guys then.